All right, what's going on? It's actually been a long time since we did a video. The last video we did with this truck, the Whipple supercharged F-150 sleeper work truck, a few months ago now, and that's when we had on the dyno, and it put down 547 wheel horsepower and a very conservative Mustang dynamometer. And then we did a aftermarket tune, third-party tune if you will, to replace the Whipple tune. It only picked up 5 horsepower at the wheels. We were promising a video on that, but there's just been some stuff kind of going on with that, where we're actually going to be switching to a different tune and a few more modifications to the engine. So the tune, moderate power gains with that third-party tune, transmission shifting, everything else was like night and day, way better, totally different truck. Just some issues with some under throttle tip-in, under moderate load, low RPM, 1500 to 2000 RPM, little bit of pre-ignition and issues getting that tuned out of it, and the only solution seemed to be octane booster to our 93 octane pump gas here locally. And I don't want to live my life on octane booster. If I'm going to do that, I might as well go to something like E30, in my opinion, which kind of segues into a future video. But anyhow, for now, why we are here today, Whipple Stage 1R supercharger. Other than that, and an SPD Y pipe with a high flow catalytic converters, highly recommend. We picked up 46 wheel horsepower with that, mostly because it kept the ECU from going into cat over temp strategy. Factory cats run a little bit hot with the Whipple. The SPD Alpha Cat Y pipe completely solved that. So why we're here today, we're gonna do some traction bars on this thing. Why are we doing traction bars? It is susceptible to a little bit of wheel hop on the street. I assume when we get this thing out to the track in a few weeks here, that will be exasperated. Is that the correct word? I think it's the correct word. Or it'll be more prominent, at least, anyhow. So I took a little bit of footage doing some launches here on the street with the GoPro 360. Hopefully got some conclusive footage that there is a little bit of wheel hop. So we're gonna put these traction bars on, hopefully get rid of that. The other thing is they just look so freaking cool on an otherwise completely factory, other than lowered looking truck. I think it's gonna look sweet having the traction bars there. Yes, I'm gonna lose some ground clearance, but the awesomeness of the aesthetic, I think, is a worthy trade-off. The traction bars we have gone with are from B Woody Performance. The reason why I went with these ones, and there's a few different brands on the market. These ones are, I believe, the only ones that actually use bushings. Yes, they are Delrin bushings, so they're very stiff bushing, but I didn't want to get into Heim joints as it is a daily street-driven vehicle. Our winters here, we do see road salt and chemicals and all that stuff, and not super Heim joint friendly. I just wanted something that was going to last and was going to be relatively quiet, so I elected to go with these. First impressions, pulling them out of the package, they look absolutely top-notch. So I'm not going to get too much into the installation of this, because B Woody actually has their own video on YouTube, and I'll put a link for that, and it's awesome, and it's detailed, and it tells you everything you need to know, and that's kind of what I'm using as my instructions for installing these. If I run into any hang-ups, because this is a 2025 model, and I've heard guys say with the 2025s, some of the holes in the frame are a little bit different, and actually that was an issue we ran into when installing the Beltec lowering kit. One of the holes was just a little bit off for the leaf spring bracket, so we'll see if that translates in any complications with these. We will check in a couple times throughout the installation here, but mostly we're just going to throw these things on. I'll get back out on the street, I'll get the GoPro 360 under the truck again, and I'll get some after footage, so we've got before, we've got after. Like I said, I don't know that the street with just factory tires is going to be the best way to showcase wheel hop and solving wheel hop with these bars, but we will do our best. But like I said, I think they're going to look awesome. I'm really happy with the pieces so far. They shipped to me in like, I don't know, it took like 4 days or something. Guys were super easy to deal with. So far so good. So we'll get cracking. We will get this thing inside on the hoist. We'll throw these bars on, hopefully get it done within, I don't know, you know, they say a couple hours. I'm not exactly an ASE certified master technician, so I will give a guy like me 4 to 5 hours. So we'll check in throughout the process, we'll check in when it's done. But yeah, here we go. B Woody Performance traction bars on a 2025 Whipple F-150. And yeah, let's get to it. Oh yeah, and since I teased you with the talk of E30 and some other stuff, yes, there are more horsepower upgrades going on to this unit. That will be a future video. So we're going E30 full Whipple stage 2 with the fancy carbon fiber air inlet tube, dropping down 1 pulley size, fuel pump booster in case we do decide to go fully 85 at some point in the future, and a ethanol content sensor and gauge, so we can monitor the ethanol content, because when you're doing E30 you want to make sure it's always around E30, right. So anyhow, that'll be a future video. Okay, so you got the bracket that goes in the bottom of the U-bolts here, bracket that goes up front here, and the bar that connects the two. First thing I had to do, I had to clearance this bracket a little bit to clear those 2 long rusty bolts in the middle. Otherwise it was catching just a little bit on that center one. Just took a tiny bit of material off it, so we should be, yeah, we should be in good shape here now. Just pop these bolts off, the nuts off, and bolt that bracket on. Okay, one other little thing I found here. This bolt hole in the frame, existing hole, is slotted, and if I put the bracket, if I butt it up against the leaf spring bracket, the existing bracket, like it says in the B Woody video, I run out of length on that hole, and I'd have to elongate that. And my worry is then that these little nut retainers, they won't be able to feed in far enough in the frame rail to catch where the positions on the holes would be. So I'm going to sit this bracket back a little bit, as far as I can get in the existing elongated bolt hole, and then we'll just drill from there. So I'm not going to butt it up. And like I said, when the Beltec kit was installed, the brackets, they had to be shifted a little bit as well. So there's something on the 2025s, I think that's slightly different from maybe the 2024s or at least 2023s. So anyhow, that's what we're going to do. So I'm not going to butt this right up against the bracket like it says in the B Woody video. I did get the rear mount on. I don't know when it's all said and done. You know what? No, it is a good thing that I elongated that hole a little bit. Yeah, because it would have been a little bit of an interference issue. So those are the 2 little things so far. That's probably just because this is a 2025, just model year variances. So anyhow, it's going pretty good so far. We'll keep trucking along. All right, there we go. We got one side in, and they'd said in the, even one of the recommendations was with a 4-wheel drive to try and get this up to the midpoint of the bracket. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. So I'd be on like hole number 3. The problem with that is this helper leaf spring. In the install video, they'd removed the helper leaf spring because they were using an airbag. I'm just trying to picture, the suspension's at full droop right now and it goes up under compression. If that clearance, if that will increase or decrease, I think it should be roughly the same. I guess we'll find out once we drop this thing down. I don't want to have to go down to that last hole, but if I have to for clearance purposes, I will. So anyhow, one side done, relatively easy. Like I said, yeah, I left this back a little bit from the leaf spring bracket, and other than that, it was all pretty straightforward. So I have some Wendy's here, and we'll recommence on the other side. Okay, one other little problem here. This is over on the driver's side. So we did the same grinding on the bracket here for the for leaf spring perch there, and then up front a little interference with this tab. I have this tab on this side, I don't have it coming off of that side. So out comes the Sawzall. Problem solved. Okay, driver's side is all installed here. This side actually had less clearance on this helper leaf spring. It's actually touching. I had to push that in place. So we'll drop this thing down. Hopefully the clearance opens up. I'm hoping. If not, we might have to drop down one perch lower on the bracket, which I don't want to do, because like I said in the instructional video, they were saying for four-wheel drive you want to be about halfway up on the front perch. But since it's daily driver, we're gonna take comfort, minimize squeaks and rattles over ultimate performance. So anyhow, we'll drop this down, then we'll set the tension on these, set the length, take it for a drive, see how she does. Okay, we'll back this thing off the hoist, we'll clean up our mess, and we'll take it out for a drive, get some miles on it, and we will give you some reviews. And before I do that, I am going to set the tension on those bars, and maybe might as well do that while I got the camera out here. So apparently it's a 1-inch wrench, which is it this guy? Is it this guy? It's not that guy. Not that guy. Oh, we're not really organized here. Oh, that guy, of course. The one that's been modded. I think it'll serve the purpose. So they say to turn this until you find the easy spot. So let's play around with this until we find a quote-unquote easy spot. And that there actually does not feel very easy. So go back this way. And then is that, I don't know, is there an easy spot? I don't know that there is here. Easier. Now, you know what? Kind of it right here. So we'll tighten up these jam nuts, which are going to be larger than 1 inch. This will be the center adjustment, and we should probably, yeah, we'll figure out what size wrench those are. It'll be a size big anyhow, so that's what you want to do. You want to find that the soft spot or the easy spot with the least tension, and then set your jam nuts. So we'll do that. We'll take this thing out for a rip. All right, there we go, all wrapped up. Took me about 5 hours, but honestly, like an hour and a half of that was dicking around, getting the hoist pulled off the shelf, getting the hoist bolted down, yada, yada, yada. So like, it's a really easy job. Three hours would be pretty safe. I was taking my time, I had lunch, whatever, right? So it's done, went for a quick test drive. So no additional squeaks or rattles, can't notice anything that way. It's tough out. It's we got some traffic out now. We're later into the day, so I didn't really get a chance to test it the way they wanted to. Noticeable though, less of the shuddering, less of the wheel hop, less of the shuddering. On a sticky surface like a drag strip, or even just with some decent tires, you would notice the improvement even that much more. My rule with this thing, I don't hear anybody saying how it needs a set of wheels and tires. It's a sleeper work truck, so it will eternally live on factory steel wheels. Maybe someday it will get a set of widened steel wheels with some sticky rubber for the track, but it is not ever going to see fancy aluminum wheels, because it defeats the purpose of it being a sleeper. Right, that's my opinion anyhow. The one thing you see how low these hang? The very first thing I did is ground one out. Stupid me drove through a pothole and I snagged it. I think what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to start cutting and modifying things now, or not yet, with a little bit of consultation. I'll talk to the guys at B Woody and just double check that recommendation of being, you know, ideally somewhere in those top 3 holes. I don't think I'll get to this hole. I can probably get up at least one more and I'll be okay. And then I think what we're gonna do is pull the bracket off and we're gonna trim a couple inches off of it. Those just hang down way too low, and I'm thinking it's because I have the Beltec drop kit. It's a 4-inch, 4.5 they call it, I guess, rather than the 5.5. So it has, I believe that's why it has this drop down bracket. It brings the leaf spring down lower. Without the extended bracket, these things would be up way higher, but they've got to be, shoot, at least 2 to 3 inches longer just to accommodate this bracket. So it kind of exasperates the situation. I love the look. I love them hanging down low like that. I think it looks badass. But this is a daily driven truck. We'll see if I can get over speed bumps. We'll see how much of a PIA it is, but very likely bracket coming off, and we'll chop 2 of those holes off. So call that 2 inches. But I want to take them off the truck to do it, try and do a nice clean job of it. So, but I think they look pretty cool, which is super important, right? I like it. It's a totally factory looking truck, except you get a little subtle hint, right? What's going on back there? I don't know. I think it's pretty cool, and it definitely does make a noticeable difference. Reduces wheel hop. Right now, this is living on the factory 9 3/4 diff with the e-locker, which I hate. And apparently, I don't know, the web forums, it's 50-50. Some guys say they break at the track, some guys say they don't. Either way, I want to get rid of it and get a Eaton True Track in there. That's what I have in my Mustang, and it's been rock solid, seamless in operation, great piece. So this will be getting an Eaton True Track, hopefully in the next few weeks as well. So anyhow, yeah, that's the B Woody traction bars. And no squeaks, no rattles. Love that they have bushings in them. I will have another update video, maybe when we do the stage 2 upgrade. We're gonna do the Whipple throttle body, the carbon fiber air intake tube. We're gonna do a different tune, E30 fuel pump booster, smaller pulley. And C, I would love to run a very high 10-second quarter mile on this thing sometime this summer, is kind of the goal. So we'll see if we can get there. So that'll be the next video, installing those pieces, and then maybe we'll take it to the dyno and we'll see what it can do on the dyno. So anyhow, I'm admittedly like I don't know, a skill level 4 out of 10 when it comes to mechanics. Maybe that's even being generous. So anybody that sees anything that I did wrong with this, feel free to correct in the comments. Like I said, this is not a how-to. I'll put a link for the how-to video that B Woody did, and that's the detailed installation. I just kind of wanted to show how it would be real world on a 2025 on my setup here, and show if there were any little quirks or any workarounds, and there were a couple. So here we are. But yeah, highly recommend the B Woody traction bars. The quality was top notch. Fit and finish was great. Just a couple little tweaks specific to my truck. So anyhow, we'll get back at you. Hopefully it won't be another 5 months before the next video, but it'll be a few weeks anyhow. Till next time, one of these, one of those. Catch you on the next one.